I am back. Windows apparently wanted to do an update, and that's what happened. Okay, there's somebody watching. Like I said, I don't want to do this alone. Okay. Alright. So, I was talking about my sweater. Sorry for a repeat, but I'm not going to repeat the whole thing. Anyway, this is the Franco sweater, and we had got to the point of what I was going to do for Steeking. Um, Yay! Thank you, Echo. So, um, what I did is, I swatched like crazy anyway. I think I have a whole sleeve, more than a sleeve swatch, which I can show you right here. So this is actually meant for another sweater, and with all cable patterns, and this is how much I swatch. Um, Different needle sizes, different stitch patterns, all of that, and then I'll end up just doing a plain stockinette. Hi, Nancy. Yes, swatching. Okay, so of course I had an extra swatch with which I could play. Hi, Karen. Yes, that's what I thought. So this is another way for me to hang out with my friends. So anyway, this is my swatch. What I did is I did a straight stitch, and then I did a zigzag stitch on, so I took 3 rows of columns, left the middle one and did it on either side, the stitching. And then I cut the middle column of stitches. And then I went ahead and picked up stitches from this edge. I knit a few rows of stockinette, 1 row of garter stitch where I wanted to turn the work around, few rows of stockinette again, and then I did a bind off, and then I just sewed it down because to cover up that ugly sewn up edge, so you cannot even see it. So I think it's a pretty nice finish, and it's nice and stable, and then the zipper will sit snugly against that edge, which I think will look pretty neat. Well, that's the plan. Uh, as far as what kind of stitching and all to do, I did use a longer stitch size. I did try it with just a straight stitch as well, and this is where I've done a straight stitch. It actually made the fabric lie much more normally, and when I cut it, you can see it still doesn't fray to the stitches, but it just made me a little nervous that it's just this 1 row of stitches. So, and many other videos that I have seen have talked about doing zigzag stitches. So I was like, let me do both, just because I don't want to mess up with my knitting. Anyway, so did this, sampled it out, turned out well, and the plan actually is, after I uh, you know cut it up, I'm going to knit a band. However, I'm not going to do it in that yarn. What I plan to do is use my hand spun for that, and I think this will match up really well. See, I'm making such a jumble out of it already. That's because I keep testing it out and thinking, oh, will it work, will it not work, and then this is what I do. It's fine. uh, or maybe not. Maybe I have created a mess. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, there you go. So that's the yarn. and so that is going to make the zipper band, the placket, and then the neck collar is going to be in that. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. So what I did go ahead and do before I cut is I did do the zigzag stitch, and so I did mark the center with a scrap piece of yarn, did the zigzag stitch and a straight stitch along, so it would be nice and stable. And now it's time to cut. So if I stop breathing, remind me to breathe. And I'm just putting a piece of plastic or something in between so I don't cut through on the bottom layer. Uh, and I do have my column very clearly marked with the green yarn, so I just basically need to follow that and I should be fine. So I'm just cleaning up the threads there. Here goes. Okay. There. I am cutting it. Okay, that green yarn is going to be just frayed pieces that I'll need to pull out. I could just pull it out, but I would rather have that as a reference, um, just to make sure I'm not moving left or right in the process of cutting it. Yeah, those green bits will all come off. So don't do that. That makes me nervous. Okay. So far, so good. So I need to vacuum after this. Okay, remove that piece of plastic up. You don't want to be cutting on the other side of the sweater. How crazy that I'm doing this live. So I really cannot goof up. And if I do, you will know what not to do, right? So, sharp, short scissor works really well for this. That's what I think, that's what I've heard. So that's what I'm doing. There's actually a pretty nice video by Kyle on Blueprint, which has a small project on steeking. So I did kind of follow that, but I kind of didn't, and then I picked up a bunch of tips from there, and then I was like, okay, I just need to do this. There we go. That's a plastic. We don't need that. So I did block. Big scissors might give me, but I'm afraid with a bigger scissor I might fray left or right and land up cutting where I'm not supposed to. So I really want it to be in the center of that stitch so that I don't land up, you know, moving back and forth. And that raw edge is anyway going to be covered, so that is fine. And yeah, doesn't look like it's going anywhere. And so what I'm going to do is there is a column of stitches, not the one which I have sewn in, but the one next to it. that is where I'm going to pick up stitches, and I'm going to knit that placket out here. So it's going to be that placket. It's going to knit few rows of that, garter stitch, knit another few rows of stockinette, bind off, and it's going to cover up that sewn up edge so you won't even see it, and to make a nice stable edge to attach the zipper to. So that's a plan, and like I showed you earlier, that's the yarn I plan to use for doing the placket and the neckband. So that's going to come even around here. So to give you a visual, that's kind of basically what we are looking at. And I have some ideas if I have more yarn left over, because who wants a plain stockinette sweater, right? So uh, thank you so much for joining me. uh, I need to breathe, have a glass of water, and then I'm going to pick up stitches and knit this up. And yeah, I did 2 columns there. Okay, yeah, so here, so I'll get a nice straight edge when I pick this up. That's what I was hoping for. Uh, Thank you so much. Yes, Evanita. I'm going to, of course, post pictures and show step by step what happens. But thank you all for joining me and giving me the support to do this. Uh, and I guess I'll try to do more live videos now that I don't know, shows have been cancelled. Uh, and I do like hanging out with my fiber people and seeing you folks. So I'm hoping I get to see y'all and chat with y'all live whenever possible. Okay, let's make use of this technology in a good way. So take care, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I will show you the results. Follow me on Instagram, Charan Sachar, or on Facebook, and you'll see progress of the sweater. Everyone, take care. Bye.